everyone, and welcome back to Hunt the Collector with me, Jason. As you can no doubt tell, things are a little bit different on this video because I'm joined by my good buddy Ryan, who is from the Cyber Hobbit. I'll put a link in the description below to Ryan's YouTube channel. Now, me and Ryan are doing these video collabs now. Now, what we've had to do on this first one, we did try to do this last week, but we had all sorts of technical issues, so this is part two. Well, it's technically part one, but it's part two. Let's try. Now, YouTube won't allow us to post the same video on separate channels, so this is part two. Now, part one is over on Ryan's channel, so nip over to Ryan's channel. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description, and you can watch part one. And I'm sure Ryan would love it if you give the videos a like and have a look at the other stuff he's got on there. He does Star Wars stuff and 3D printing and all manner of stuff. And it'd be superb, guys, if you could subscribe as well. So basically, this is our first video collaboration together. We're hoping to do loads more, so I'd love to hear from you all. Stick it in the comments below. Subjects you'd like me and Ryan to cover, because I say we'll be doing these. These will be a fairly regular thing in the future now. We're going to try and bang them out every week or 2 weeks, or whatever we can do them. So, this is part two of the questions, and I'm rabbiting on. Now, you'll have to bear with me, guys, because Ryan has done all the work on the tank. Huge thanks to Ryan for doing all the work. He's set all the questions, he's done all the amazing borders and everything else. This is why this video looks so professional.
After a lot of technical troubleshooting,
yeah, we got there, dude. We got there. Okay, so here we go with our first video collab between Hunt the Collector and the Cyber Hobbit, and this is part two of the questions. So we're going to kick off with the first questions of part two. Okay, Ryan, when did you start collecting?
I started collecting, I want to say, 4 years ago. And 4 years ago. That's when I got my first Andoril, Lord of the Rings collectible. That was the beginning of the domino effect of you got one, and wow, I really like that. I got to get more. So that's when I started.
Okay, all right. For me, I think for me, I've always been a collector. I covered this on one of my haunt chats. As a little kid, I had they were play people then. They're Playmobil now, and Lego, and obviously in the late 70s with the birth of Star Wars, I had the Star Wars figures, and I never used to actually play with them. Like, I built the Lego models, and I used to set all the play, but I just used to set them up and display them around because we lived in a really old cottage, so we had this really big front room, and I used to set it all out. I'd spend like half a day setting it all up, and then I'd leave it there, and then I'd put it all away again. And my mum always used to sort of laugh at the fact that I did this. So I think I've always been a collector. So I think the easiest answer for me is, when did I start collecting? I've always done it. So question two, what is your least favourite collectible?
I guess that would be, maybe not least favorite, but I guess kind of least is, you can include the word regret into, and maybe not even regret, would be some of the smaller things I have, specifically some of the 1/4 scale helmets. Off the top of my head, I maybe like some of the orc helmets, just because they're okay, but not so great. And the reason I guess I say it's my least favorite is because I've now learned that, as much money as I've spent on all these small tiny pieces, I could have gotten much bigger things, and maybe I guess regret buying so many small pieces and then realizing that they take up a lot of space, they take up a lot of boxes, and they take up my money that I could have spent for something else.
Yeah, sure.
What about you?
It would be probably one of the Funko Pops I've got. I'm not a Funko Pop collector, but the one I did buy was the King of the Dead Funko Pop, because I thought it looked really good, and it's up there on the mirror. But I've also got a couple of the Weta Mini Epics as well. And I'm saying they're my least favourite. I'm saying them three simply because they're the cheapest things in my collection.
They're smaller things are great, but I guess when you just compare them to like this the Prime 1 Sauron. It's just like, yeah, there's night and day of a difference. So
what do you think your collection needs more of?
Space. That's probably I know you're asking about I guess what I would like to maybe even start collecting, but to be quite honest, yeah, like room for more collectibles. That's, I guess, space and the room to put collectibles in is probably, maybe ironically, a collector's most valuable thing, right? Because having
100%.
more room and more places to put things gets your mind going of what can go there, what could I put in that spot. And yeah, as far as like actual items, I definitely wouldn't mind having, I guess we have already kind of touched on this a few times, but bigger things. I need more larger statues, and like I'm currently building one over here in the corner. There's a little Iron Man torso sitting there that I've been soldering earlier this morning. But yeah, I feel like like 1/4 scale things have kind of become like the better items that I look forward to. Like you know the.
But you do have Sauron.
Yes,
coming,
that will be my official first one that I will have purchased. So. Yeah, and then I was also considering. I mean, I guess I again need to. Yeah, and maybe you've kind of convinced me on this, but I would love to get that Prime 1 Frodo and Golem. That if there's any piece out there that I have my eyes on, I'm like, man, I would love to have that one.
Looking at the dimensions on that piece, it isn't actually a piece that's got a massive footprint either. Do you know what
really?
I mean? It's not. It's not very big. I mean, the alcoves I've got over here, it fits in them really comfortably. So it's it's not like you've got a house like a behemoth like this thing. And I think that's going to be one of the. If somebody was to sort of say to me what, because obviously he's my favourite piece, as we did on part 1 on your channel, right? He's my favourite piece. If somebody was to say to me, "But what piece do you think could knock him of all the pieces I've got on pre-order now? What do you think could knock him off the top spot?" There'd be 2 pieces I'd say have the potential to beat him. One would be the Frodo Gollum piece by Prime 1. And the other one would be the teaser image that we've had of the Witch King of Angmar by Prime 1.
Yeah.
I think those are 2 pieces along with him, that if you're a Lord of the Rings collector, you've got to have
something about that turn on that Frodo Golem piece with the light on and the little LED, and I think that's going to still look like another like looking, not only display but like.
But it's like the Balrog going on over in the corner, with the LEDs on that. And I mean, he looks great in the day, but at night it just takes on a whole new level of awesome. So, I mean, for me, I don't really need to spend long answering this question, because it's exactly the same answer as yours. It's display space. It's the ongoing battle for display space, and it's as much of a challenge for me to think where stuff is going to go, and because I keep seeing different pieces, and I'm constantly having to rethink how I'm going to display things. So, yeah, totally agree with that one, and my answer is exactly the same. So, next question. Who is your favourite manufacturer of collectibles? And you'll have one choice.
I would say, man, if I only have one, I would base it off of what I have now, because I mean, technically, I know the Sauron's going to be great, but they're the go-to. They're the people who did the films. I'm a subscriber to their YouTube channel, and I've watched a bunch of their own videos and everything. Like, the fact that they also, you can go to New Zealand and go see like all the Hobbit holes, and then you can buy the Hobbit holes and actually see the direct replica. I mean, you can't really go anywhere. Not to knock the Sauron piece, but you can't really go see a real life Sauron and be like, oh, there he is to compare it to. So,
Although I believe Infinity Studios are having a damn good crack at it with their
Yeah, right.
1/1 scale bust.
But yeah, I would probably say Weta.
My favourite manufacturer would have to be obviously Prime 1. I'm going for Prime 1 because I think, Prime 1 take a lot of stick. We've all read in the groups, they take a lot of stick, but I think for the whole package, they are at the top of the game. I really do. I know Queen Studios are superb, Infinity Studios are superb. We've got J&D Studios coming now as well, banging out awesome stuff, albeit it's just DC seemingly at the moment. But for me, you take the next level showcases that Prime 1 do. They're so enjoyable to watch, and there's so much work goes into their next level showcases, and the amount of stuff that they're churning out, and it's every time you see a review on YouTube or whatever, I'm not saying that they're flawless. They do make mistakes, but there aren't many. It's not often they fall short of people's expectations, and they're constantly raising the bar, which is what I love, and for this Lord of the Rings line, every time I see new stuff, it's
I feel like they're quickly becoming the highest quality Lord of the Rings things you can get.
It's Prime 1 Studio for me. Prime 1 are my number one. So, okay, where's the next question? Have you ever broken a piece in your collection? If so, what happened, and did you learn anything from it?
I have broken 3 of my 1/4 scale helmets. One of them was definitely my fault. Another one was definitely my cat's fault. I guess technically it's my fault for putting it in a place where the cat could get to and knock off. So, and then another one, I don't really know how. Maybe my dogs bumped into a table and it knocked it off. Learning from it is don't just leave your collectibles in a spot where they could easily get knocked over. Obviously remember what you have. Remember that these things are worth money.
I've actually broken quite a few pieces. So clearly I haven't learned anything from it. The last one I broke was actually my half-scale Terminator from Prime 1. It was actually, do you know what? And I don't take the blame for this. I blame that entirely on Prime 1. And it didn't arrive broken. It arrived in perfectly fine. And I've put this on a couple of my videos, and I do hope Prime 1 watch or are aware of this. Their instructions are bloody useless. For what we pay for these statues, we should be getting a nice, decent sized booklet with very clear photographs of how to put these pieces together if they come in the number of pieces like the Terminator came in, certainly. But I think it was like 89 steps. And it was on one sheet, double-sided sheets. And they're like 2 centimetre square photographs. And you couldn't even see clearly the piece that they were referring to, let alone where you're supposed to put it. And it was sort of like, I could strip that Terminator now and put it back together without instructions. It's easy once you've done it. The hardest thing is deciphering the photograph. Anyway, this is a very long answer to a very simple question. I broke one of the pistons on the inside of the right leg. But fortunately, the way it sits, because it hangs, there's a pingo string that holds it in place and it slots into the knee. And it broke, but it's broken up inside the piston. Oh. So if you tear it off, it comes apart. But because the way it sits, it holds it in perfect. And it's a really easy fix. It's literally a dab of glue and you can repair it. So, yeah. So that's the last piece I broke. I haven't broken anything since, touch wood. So the next question, right, is what is your favourite franchise / game / movie to collect?
Lord of the Rings. I know that's probably going to be the obvious, easy answer. But I mean, like you can see in this, room right now, it's pretty Star Wars-y in here. But I like I mentioned, I've the first thing I got was the Andariel sword, but I actually had ordered my first Hot Toys Yoda, and my love for Star Wars is probably I want to say as big as Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings for me has a rooted thing in my childhood, where when I was a little kid, I saw the first Hobbit movie, and then a cartoon from Rankin Bass, and then read the books. Book. I haven't fully read the Lord of the Rings. I've been listening to them, but yeah, it would probably be the Lord of the Rings, just because it has so much. I feel like lore and everything, and like backstories and things to so many events. Like there are a lot of stories I hope that we get to see in like the new Amazon series that's coming up, that hope can show some of the stuff that was in the Silmarillion and everything. But I feel like there's almost like endless stuff that we don't know about in the Lord of the Rings that would be great to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the Silmarillion now, which is the first age, and the first like 50-60 pages a little bit heavy going. There's a lot of characters, but because I've seen so many YouTube channels discussing the first age, I thought I really want to read it. So I'm now reading the all about the first age. So I must admit, and I'm really enjoying it now. Now I'm getting into the story a bit.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Really, I need to get on trying to read.
But like yourself, I mean, obviously, I'm Lord of the Rings as well. I love it. I absolutely love Lord of the Rings, and I don't really need to go over too much over that. I mean, but I also, obviously, movie-wise, I've got the third scale Predator coming by Prime 1. I had the cover art one, but I sold that to David. So I've got the immense third scale one coming, because I love it. Do you keep all your art boxes / shipper boxes?
Unfortunately, no. I'll rephrase that. I have now. I've come to realize the drastic mistake of not keeping them. A lot of it had to do with space. Where I live now, I didn't have I started my collection at the previous place I lived, and I maybe just of ignorance and not knowing better. Did not keep a lot of my United Cutlery pieces, the shipper boxes or the art boxes. I have since then collected, or I've kept all of the art boxes for all of like the 1/6 scale figures I have from Hot Toys, as well as all of the my Hobbit holes and the 1/6 scale statues of from the Hobbit, and as well as like the Hobbit hole, like basically everything else but my United Cutlery pieces. And I say that I kept the art boxes, but I did not keep the shipper boxes. Dumbly, it doesn't take but that much more space around the outside of the box, so it's not like you couldn't just put it back in there. But me just I'm not really thinking. I have learned to keep them, but yeah, originally I just was being very dumb. And one day, if ever I sell them, I'll probably not get the value that I paid for.
Well, I mean, I do now. I keep all of. I mean, the Prime 1 boxes are so enormous, and obviously I keep the shit because I store all mine in the garage, which is separate to the house, so it can get quite cold and damp in there. So the shipper boxes massively protect the art boxes inside. They're built to be more, but they're on shelves. They're off the floor, so they're fine. But previously, when I collected the Court of the Dead, which were in much, much smaller boxes, even though they're quarter scales, they came in one box, which I used to keep them in my wardrobe and everything. But I used to throw the shipping box away.
Yeah.
I kept the art box and threw the shipping box. And I was probably on about my 10th one. And I was like, why are you throwing them away? Because if ever you sell this piece, you've now got to go and get another box to plonk this in, where this one is designed to put that one to go in it. It was like the most dumb thing to do. So again, like yourself,
and I've even
I had to learn that. So. Okay, last question. What is one collectible you wish you'd gotten but haven't got?
That would be Bilbo Baggins in Bag End. The Yeah,
We've talked about this, haven't we?
and well, so I have gotten the classic, the smaller edition, but there's, as you obviously know, there's the much bigger version that is, the much more elaborative thing, and
So you're actually referring to the Bilbo Baggins, actually the
yes.
the one with the desk and
yeah. Maybe when like I think you were talking to me saying that once it comes out, maybe there's some people who cancel it. Maybe I could pick it up then. But that I feel like that piece to me, that like I love just the warmth that I see when I look at it. It's the same kind of feeling that I get when I look at like the Hobbit holes, just because it has a big nostalgic thing, and yeah, just the amount of detail in that, and just because it's such a unique thing, like most of the things I have around my apartment are about like war and weapons and Star Wars figures with blasters and lightsabers and everything. But this is just like a guy sitting at his desk. I mean, I just look at it and it's an amazing little piece. I would love to go to New Zealand. This is like my dream vacation, and go see Bag End and all the real Hobbit holes. Just say that's my nostalgic heart, I guess, that loves those kind of things. But yeah, that would Bilbo at his desk, and the bigger version that it's much more expensive than the $300 something version for the classic version that I paid. But yeah, it would definitely be my number one thing that I wish I would have gotten instead of the classic version.
I don't know why. The Prime One Studio Alien Big Chat.
Oh, right.
I just wish I don't know why, because it's upright and it's got such a small footprint. I mean, for a Prime One piece to not have a colossal, great big, massive bay, there's so many places I could have displayed that, and I think it's one of the best Alien pieces I've ever seen. I think it's only possibly challenged by the Prime One Dog Alien, which I would love as well. But I'm not a massive fan of the film Alien. I didn't love Alien 3. It was okay. It was an okay film, but to have had the Alien Big Chat from the first, oh man, that would have been. I did have the Alien Warrior on pre-order from Prime One, but it's got a huge base, and unfortunately I've had to cancel it now because where that initially was going to be displayed, the Weta Escape from the Road.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's another piece that I kind of wish I would have gotten. that's I mean, I was gonna say that's the one with like the 4 hobbits under the tree. Is that? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, for me, that just encapsulates a moment, not only from the film, but how I visualised it when I read it in the book. I think Weta have just done an absolute, as they do with their environments. Their environments are just done so well, they really so fantastic. Well, I mean, I have that on pre-order. I have that I'm afraid the Bilbo Bag End on pre-order. I also have the great big Bag End one, which was the last one.
I had just ordered the smaller version of that Bag End thing. Like a couple months before they announced that one. And granted, I probably still could have like canceled it and gotten it, but I had been eyeing up that smaller Bag End version for a while, and but that would have been a great one too.
To be honest, I only got that bigger one really because I just thought it would go well with the Bilbo in Bag End. I thought I could set them up somehow together because I'm predominantly all bad guys, so I need to get a little corner now where there's some nice stuff. It's not, I mean, it's all orcs and balrogs and Sauron, and I just love the villains in Lord of the Rings. I just think they're fantastic.
You'll have to change your channel to Happiness of the Collector, or maybe not.
Well, I tell you where that came from. When it was Haunt of the Collector, it was because I still had because I actually created the name for the channel back in 2020, and I didn't post a video until 2021. But I had the Court of the Dead collection then, so it sort of fitted in with that. So that's where the name came from. Yeah, it just doesn't fit there. But that's it. That's question number 10, guys. So for this part 2, there's 10 on, like I said, on Ryan's channel. He's got the first 10. That's the second 10. So huge thanks to Ryan for not only compiling all the questions, but he's gone to so much work. He's been sorting sound out and everything. So huge thanks to Ryan for that. So cheers, Ryan.
No problem, man.
And
This has been great.
as I said, guys, yes, it has. It's been fab. And as I said to you guys, this is the first one of these. We'll be doing loads more of these. So please stick in the comments below anything you'd like me and Ryan to bring up in the future, things you'd like to see us doing, etc. Love to hear from you all. Huge thanks to Ryan. Cheers to you guys. Don't forget, jump over to the Cyber Hobbit. Check part 1 out. And I will catch you all on
Bye-bye, guys.
Take care.